As discussed a few weeks ago, there are 5 ballot questions on the ballot this year, and only 4 of them really impact Montgomery County. One is a Howard County only deal. Do you really care whether the Maryland Court of Appeals is named the Supreme Court of Maryland? No one really cares. That's, who cares? Do you care whether a civil suit you can ask for a jury trial, unless you're asking for more than $25,000 in damages in district court? Well, let me take it from a lawyer. I've been on both sides here. Jury trials are a lot more expensive. They're better for the lawyer, but not for the client. The judges in district court are terrific. They can make the decisions. And 3 weeks ago, we discussed the effort to legalize personal use of marijuana. Now, I think it's a terrible idea, but it looks like it's going to pass easily. 5 and 10 years from now, you can tell me how screwed up the kids are going to be, and you can say I was right. This is just go along with the crowd kind of thing. The fourth and last issue really goes to the essence, however, of our representation in a democracy. And that question is whether state legislators must reside in the district they represent. We'll start with Nancy. What do you think?
Yes.
Well, it's television, Nancy. You can't have one word.
I think it's obviously obvious. If only it applied to our members of Congress. David Trone does not live in his district, but we're not addressing that. It's clearing up, I guess. What's an abode versus residence, and the rules for actually calculating where someone lives, and I think that's right. They should.
Well, look, I agree with you. I think the only problem is we can't enforce it on congressional elections. Mark, what are your thoughts?
I certainly they should live in the district, and actually, I think a missed opportunity in the state legislature was that we didn't go to single member districts, which would have allowed for our delegates to be that much closer to their constituents by having basically smaller 1/3 or 2/3 smaller districts for delegates.
Well, I just got this, since we all agree. I mean, that's just, bad planning on my part. If you want to talk about the marijuana ballot, you can, because we got 2 more minutes to kill in this segment.
Well, there's another question on the ballot that's kind of fun. It's a question as to whether the council should have, or this is a local question, whether the county council should have the right to get involved in a decision by the county executive to fire the county attorney, which was an interesting situation. Apparently was recommended by our former county attorney that there should be more joint activity there. So that's sort of a power grab question that's kind of fun to think about. Ordinarily, the council would not get involved in that decision, and this one goes to the voters.
But what do you think?
Yeah, which way do you
should have that power?
Well, I don't know. I ran for county executive, so as county executive, I'd say, get your hands off my business. And as a 16-year member of the county council, I'd say, of course, we're so much smarter than the county executive. So, it goes both ways. It'll be interesting. I'll be curious to see how the vote goes on that one.
Do you think anybody really pays attention to it? No. I mean, that's way inside baseball.
And that is the problem with many of these issues. It certainly is an issue with Thrive. But it's also with, so many things we talk about. So few people get engaged. So few people show up at public hearings. People talk about it on TV, but do they actually go to the hearing? Have they actually read the background material? Do they actually know what the details are? Now
you're exposing my lack of knowledge, Nancy. We got to go to Mark on this.
Well, I find it fascinating because like so many of these issues, where you sit is how you come out on those, and sometimes those jurisdictional district differences are kind of as decisive as anything else. And if that's the case, I'm not sure that you necessarily want to make a change. But obviously it's on the ballot and people need to decide that.
Status quo is always good.
Status quo is, I tend to vote no unless you can give me a really compelling reason why a change needs to be made. And I think that's a principle I would apply to a number of the recommendations that we've all
right. Well, thank you, Mark. Thank you, Nancy. Stay tuned for parting shots when we come back from this short break.